This welcome back to the 7-day challenge, and hopefully, uh, for participants joining today, you also have some of your projects, and even if your projects are not complete at the moment, I encourage you all to post your projects in the team forming thread so you can brainstorm with other participants. I understand it's a very intense course. You need to devote like at least 2 hours per day for this week in order to complete it. So I totally understand if some of you only followed up to day 2 or day 3, and that's totally fine. The purpose is to kind of utilize the tools to be able to build your own projects. So based on whatever you have learned, even if just the OpenAI prompt, we encourage you to try to find a use case for yourself and build some tools, whatever level is comfortable for you. So for tomorrow, I hope the people who joining today would be able to showcase some of your works for this week. And I'll just show some of the slides that we already discussed previously because some of you joined later. So especially the study guide, this is already posted in the pinned message on Discord. So but basically structure is that we have first 5 days. Each day is designed to follow an online course. The core framework we are using here is LangChain because it's very flexible and very beginner friendly. And it already have a tier of courses that start from the absolute beginner level to agent building level. So this is how the study group is designed. And then today is day 6 that we're going to show some of the tutorials on the financial use cases. And tomorrow, day 7 is for the projects. So it's from everyone who joined. If you have a project you complete from using the tools of the courses, then we welcome you to ping it today to let us know, and we will arrange a presentation for you tomorrow. So that's the structure of the course. And I believe most of you already went through the content of the and listened to the video, so I'm not going to the details. So today we'll start from the example. So here, it might be a bit small, but I'm going to share it later. And the purpose here is not to go line by line to the code, but to show the general high-level structure of what you can do with LangChain. So here is a simple example. So here, this page is just using showing how you do a user interface in Jupyter Notebook or Python code. And then the next page is a simple example. Basically, how do you do a general framework? So for LangChain, it's actually, it already provides you interface with different document types like Word, PDF, audio, and CSV. So this is just showing you that you can actually build a class, abstract class that you can customize to any document type you want to use. So this is an example how you can flexibly using LangChain for any document. And then the next is web. So this is Word, PDF, audio, CSV, and then this page show you also web page. And then based on all these document types, how do you do some of the prompt engineering? And how do you use, for example, how do you format the data, and how do you do simple queries like sentiment analysis? So this is what is showing here. Okay, I'm not going to go line by line, but you're welcome to stop me if you have a question here, and I can go into details if you want. But this is basically similar to the courses you follow. If you follow all the courses, this should be easy for you to understand. And you are welcome to check back on the slides for the details. And then this is some of the, for example, if you build if you follow all these steps and then you build the user interface, this is basically the chatbot you have. And then you go, for example, for web query, you can give it a website, and then you can ask a question. Here, I ask a question about crypto news. You can do anything you want, like for stocks or commodities. So it's easy for you to customize. And then the next one is a simple example for PDF. So this is just a paper on reinforcement learning in finance, and I'm asking it what are the methodology used. So actually, you can do the same thing with just ChatGPT, right? You can just upload the data, upload your uh, paper to ChatGPT and ask questions. The purpose of building a pipeline is that if you want it to be a part of your analysis, say I'm building my own tools to extract all the methodologies and test with the code, then you actually cannot go to the webpage of OpenAI to do things. You have to have a pipeline, Python pipeline to do this. So that's the purpose of building this using LangChain instead of uploading your data to OpenAI. And then the next page, this is showing an example of using CSV. Like if you have a large either CSV or database of prices and volumes, you can actually ask questions about it instead of doing manual searches. And then this page is example for the audio file. So I'm using MP3. You can use other files for example, earning calls. So this is actually there are multiple ways to do it. The most naive and simpler way, which is what I used here, is that firstly, you convert your audio file into a text file. So you're going to first convert MP3 into a text document, and then you use LangChain to analyze it. And there are multiple softwares to do that. Um, so I used the assembly AI here, but there are multiple documents. And there are also ways you just use multimodal AI. So you probably can skip this middle step. So you can do, for example, probably you can analyze the tunes of the speaker, the speed he talks, and maybe you can extract signals from like emotion signals from that, which is lost if you convert to text file. So I'm not going to go in depth there, but this is based on the course materials. This should be something easy to do right now. And then I'll show you like specifically for financial use cases, what we can do. So it similar to what I showed before, but this is, for example, for Basel rule, you can build a chatbot, you can do a sentiment analysis and summarization for news, you can do data extraction, and you can transcribe audio recordings. And then the next page is for agentic RAG. So the last day, if you follow the course till yesterday. Yesterday's course is for building agentic RAG using LangChain. But the agentic RAG from yesterday is actually just utilizing tools. So you're not building multiple agents competing with each other and building an environment for it to interact with. That would be a more autonomous AI that more like high level agent. But here we are just trying to let the LM do the reasoning. So given a question and given the set of tools we provide, how do you use the tools? And that step is done by LM. So it needs to do a reasoning that step 1, 2, 3, 4, which tool I use in step 1, and then after I get the result, what tool I use in step 2. So that part is like agentic component here that LM need to understand how to use all the tools. And the reason we want to use our own tools is because firstly, you might have some data that is not available in public, and you want to use that. And then you also want to specify which how you want the result to be, like what formula you want to use, what model you want to use. But if you ask a question to OpenAI, you cannot control the middle components. So if you already have, like in your company, you already have a pipeline about how you do things, you can basically send LM how you want to do things and what tools you're using. So to automate all the process, I think that's a purpose of this basic agent you can build right now. And then yeah, so this is just more examples here about how we can, for example, if you provide tools to extract prices, extract trading volumes, extract order book data, and then you tell, like, I'm just using finance as a context to demo it, and then you tell the agent that this is how I compute the market impact, and this is the strategy I use to trade. Like, how do I, for example, you need to extract the technical indicators, and you use either simple, like you use the moment and follow the trend, for example, and you just define all the tools using your strategy, and then the agent can kind of trade for you. So that's the purpose here. And for example, for risk management, you can define how you define your performance, what ratio you want to use, and what risk metrics like value at risk, conditional value at risk. So what metrics you want to use for risk measurement, what metrics you want to use for performance measurement, what you want to optimize, and what is your strategy. You can write all these as tools, and then your agent can reason behind it and try to pick stocks or do the trading for you. So that's kind of the high level financial analysis. And then this is another use case I find very interesting, but I feel it's not that widely used yet. But this is like knowledge graph. Basically, you give it a document or database, and then it will convert that text data into graph. So here I'm using Basel rules. So basically, if you are familiar with market risk, you will understand it, but I assume most people are not, so don't worry about the components here. Basically, what it tells you is that I have this set of rules described in 2,000 pages, and it will take me days to read through it. And I would want to understand at the high level about the structure of the document within a few minutes, and how do I do it? So here, if you connect it to a graph database, which I use Neo4j here, which is widely used with LangChain because they already have the framework. And then you ask the LLM to read it, convert it into the graph. And then you kind of need to guide it, like how you do prompt engineering. You need to specify, I want, for example, regulators as one category of the graph node, like model components as the other category. And the relation will be what is calculated by what, and what is the under, like what rule is under what jurisdiction. So you need to kind of define the relationship category, the node category, and then will give you this final graph where the node is like regulators, the rules, the models, the risk class, for example. And then the edges are the relations, which belong to which, and which is calculated by which, and which is under which regulation. So this is kind of, for me, it's very useful to get a high-level picture before you dive into 2,000 pages. And the other use cases for it is that you can actually quickly search. If you give this to LM, like a second LM, you already have this graph generated by your first LM. Then when you ask a question, the second LM does not need to go through all the pages. It will first read this graph and identify which node is related to your question, and it will search the graph database for the pages. So that will speed up the query as well. So that's what I find interesting, but to actually use it, there's a lot of technical details you need to do in the background. So it might not be that straightforward at this stage. But these are the high level use cases, and I can show some of the scripts that I used as a demo. But again, this is not a complete project. It's just for you to understand the tools and build their own project. So I think for now, I want to look at the questions, if we have any questions right now. I see some message on the chat. So there's a question on how to get the intuition of what agents to define and how many agents to define. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good question. I think for example, if you're doing a trading, right, you want to define an agent that's going to do risk analysis. It's more like you're organizing a team, and then each team member specialize in its own role. So there is a agent to do risk analysis. There is an agent to estimate market impact and do optimal execution. There is an agent to analyze like the technical indicators and try to get the buy and sell signals. And you may want another agent that kind of organize how these three agents work together. So this is like a very rough explanation for finance. But for your own use cases, I think you need to first understand, if you want to do a project, what components, specialized components you want and how you want them to work together. So it's really case by case. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Chuxing. Yeah. So Chuxing is also commenting that you can go to the 5-day challenge. Exactly. So we have another agentic AI channel that will discuss this more in detail. And we have videos and materials there. You can also refer to that. And we also have very good projects done in that channel. You can watch the video for that. So I want to take any other questions if there's any before I go ahead to the coding part. Okay, so I assume there's no more questions here. Okay. Yeah, so this is there a good Olama launching tutorials to build LLM application locally? Yeah, actually I'll show you one of the simple way to do it. There are actually multiple ways to connect them, multiple libraries with even within LangChain. But I'll show you a easy, very simple beginner level notebook to do that in a minute. Yeah. Is there any other question? Even if you are building your project and you have a question not related to this deck, you're welcome to ask now. Okay. So I'll show you yeah, exactly the question related to Llama. So for local LM, I feel like this is a very important topic. Also asking channel in the beginning, because the purpose you want to build your pipeline is because you want to use your own data or your own tools, and you probably don't want to upload that to OpenAI. If you just have a general question, you can just use OpenAI webpage. You don't even need to build anything. So be able to use offline or local LM is very important, because that's where your real use cases are. So here I'm just showing a very simple way to use it. And you can build on top of this. It's not like a comprehensive project or agent. So if let me know if you can see my notebook right now. If I'll take, okay, thank you. So the first section is basically the how you use Olama. I think if you're talking about Olama, you have done this already. But for people who never used it, you can download Olama from the, it's very easy, just download it as an app, for example, on your MacBook. And then once you download it, it can run in the background. And then you can check on all the models available. I find Llama 3.1 is a good starting point because it's not too slow. If you go to a very small model, it's going to be very slow. You ask a very simple question, it's going to run a very long calculation in the background. And Mistral 7B is also very good. So you can check on the models you want on the web page. And then once you pick the model, it's like there's a model card there and you can understand the features. And then you pick your model and then you just go to your terminal and you do Olama run, for example, Mistral, and then it's going to run in the background. So there's really nothing else you need to do besides that. And by doing this, actually, it's going to download the model locally. So it will take a few gigabytes of your space. You need to make sure you have some space for it. And then you will download all the weights of the neural network. And Olama is kind of it's able to translate the weights and understand the weights and build, like reconstruct the LLM model for you. So basically, it's all running locally. You're not connecting to any external server. You can do this everything without connection to internet. So I think that's a very important feature you may want to have. And also, it's not going to like charge you by token numbers, right? Because you downloaded it. And then the disadvantage is that you are going to have a less accurate result compared with OpenAI, and you're going to depend on your if you run on AWS, you have a lot of GPUs, right? That is fast. If you run locally and you only have CPU, right? You're going to wait for a few minutes for, not a few minutes, maybe like 20 seconds for something that OpenAI can respond in less than a second. So that's a difference. But I think it's a good, still a very good thing for you to start with if you want to use your own data. So here I'm just showing a very simple example. So there are a lot of built tools in LangChain already. I'm using Wikipedia as an example. So for example, here I'm importing Wikipedia wrapper, right? So basically LangChain already have a tool built for you under this Wikipedia wrapper module, and then you just define it as, I'm just defining it as wiki. And this is a tool I'm going to use later. And similarly, you have actually Google Finance, Yahoo Finance tools too. You can check it out. I don't find them very useful, to be honest, but it's a very like fast evolving package, and I think people are contributed to it constantly. So it will be more and more useful later on. So here I'm just like defining my own tools. Besides the wiki, I'm just showing wiki as a default tool to show how to use the default tool. And then this is a customized tools. For example, I want to define a tool to get stock prices and volumes from Yahoo Finance. So I just define a tool here. And I want to get open, high, low, close, and volume data. So this is my customized tool. And I want to, so you can see, this is how I do it, right? And then the second one is calculate value at risk. This is just an example. You might not need to do any risk analysis, but value at risk is a popular measure of the risk of returns. And then you can also do like calculate technical indicators, calculate your, for example, the way you define market impact, the way you define other trading signals. You can all define as a tool here. So this is just a simple demo. And then once you do that, you have your, okay. Okay, so you have your tools, right? You define here. And then this is a set of the tools you define, what tools you want to include in your agent. You just define a array for that. And then it's very simple, like you define LM using your Olama, your model downloaded with Olama and the temperature, and then you bind it to, so I'm using bind tools to bind it to all the tools I defined. There are, you can see I comment on this line, right? So I'm actually using the LangChain core tools, and there are also tools on the LangChain agents that is going to define things differently. But the idea is the same. You define a set of tools, you bind it to LLM, and there are different code to do that. So this is what I find the most easiest way. And then after that, you have your LLM and you have your tools and you bind them. And then you're going to define your agent. So here is create tool calling agent is what I used. So you have your LLM, you have your tools, and you have your prompt. So this is just like system message. You tell it what you are. You can define more details actually. There are a lot of ways to improve this prompt template, but I kept it simple. And then after that, you're done. Like this is the simplest agent with offline model and tools. And then you just ask questions. So this is one example question. What is the initial release date of Bitcoin? So you can also this is basically a useless question, right? You can just ask OpenAI, but I use this to demo the tools and agent here. So what is the release date of Bitcoin? And then if here you set, so sorry here. So if you do your agent executor and you set verbals to true here, you will see the reasoning behind the response. So I think if you're doing debugging or developing, you can turn it to true and it will tell you I'm evoking Wikipedia, which is a tool in the tools array, right? I'm invoking Wikipedia with this query, and according to Wikipedia, this is the release date, and like this is when the first block known as Genesis block was mined by the creator who is a creator. So basically it will tell you which tools am I using right now and what is the answer. And then the second question is what is the prices for Apple stock, right? And then it will tell you, oh, I'm now using stock and prices, get stock and prices and volume tool, and this is the result I got. So basically, and then you can also ask a question like, what is the, for example, VAR, value at risk, and then it will do what it will do is, oh, first I need to get the prices, and then I need to calculate return, and then I need to use a tool called calculate VAR and to calculate the risk metrics. So you will see the logic behind it, or it will figure out how to use different tools together to get the final result. So, and then if you want to use the user interface here, you can check it out later. I will post this notebook online, but it's actually very simple. Um, um, if you have any experience with the course, I'm reusing the user interface from the launching course. What it will give you, you should be familiar with it right now. It looks the same as the courses. Now this is like a financial Q&A bot, and this is a conversation. You can use memory behind it. You can ask a question and then you will see the reply. You ask another question, it will remember what you asked before. So it's like a simple version of your OpenAI webpage, right? You can do a chat here. So that's like that's a structure you can use in your project, but this is a very basic one. It's not actually a real financial trading agent. It's just a high level structure. Yeah, so before going to the next one, I want to understand there's a question here. So if you have questions, you can either unmute or you can post it in the chat. And I will take silence as no question. Okay. So the basic example of reading, so this is first querying 10K. So how do you, so for 10K data, you can easily download it, right? If you just do a POC, you download a PDF from online. And then if you want to really do a real analysis, you actually need all the 10Ks from at least like the top like 3,000 companies, right? If you really want to do your modeling. So what I use is that you actually need to use API. I use SAC API. To be honest, I feel you might be like you need to be careful about it because the subscription fee is not very cheap, and you need to figure out how to cancel it when you don't need it. So I don't encourage everyone to actually buy the plan now, but if you just do a few a few financial statements, you can just find public data. And once you have a mature project, you can subscribe. So this is how I downloaded. There are a few ways to download it, and they have different, there are different forms of data. And this one, I just use like Russell 3000. So I extract all the companies on that, and then I download all the statements for every company. And so I download the 10K metadata and also, all the files. And then here you see how all the files are being downloaded and what URL it is. If the API, you can also use a free version, right? But then you hit the rate limit really quickly, like after a few companies, you need to wait. So basically, if you just want to do POC, you don't need to worry about it. But this, if you want to do like this, you just keep downloading, then you will need a plan. So it will take a long time to actually download all the data. But this is how I did the data part. And then say I have all the data, and now I show you one example, just using Apple statement. And then this is like a very simple example of how you read it, right? So first you do a text splitter. You basically split it into chunks, and this is how many chunks it has. And then you're going to store it into a vector database, and then you do a Q&A. So this you can do after you finish day 3, I think. And then you can, now this is like a prompt template, right? You are a financial analyst, and these are the values I want you to extract from 10K. And please like use these metrics. For example, I want you to input in this format. And you can see in the course, it also tell you how to input it in Java, a JSON format, right? That will be very useful for your next step. So this is just an example that like I want you to summarize the balance sheet. What is the working capital? What is the earning? What is EBIT? So this is just a very simple Q&A. And then after that, I can define, for example, what is the Altman Z-score, right? So basically it automated manual process where you need to read the 10K, get all the fields, and then calculate this. Instead, you can use LLM to do this manual step. And then you define your function, and what you eventually get is just this Altman Z-score. So basically, for example, you can do download all the 3,000 companies' data, use LM to read all the reports, and calculate this Z-score for other companies. So if you do it manually, right, it's going to take a long time. But this is like a place you can use LM to get what you want quickly. So I'm finishing up with material for today, but I'm going to take questions if there's any more. I think for notebook, yeah, Anaconda is what I'm using. You can use like Conda environment, which it's a bit different from default Python environment, right? And it can handle the packages better. But I think for notebook, you can, if you're beginner level, you can also use Google Colab. I think because Google Colab have a lot of things already downloaded, so you may have things set up for you already. And of course, on AWS, you can also have notebook if you need to use GPU. Yeah, like AWS SageMaker, you can do it there. I'll see if there's any new questions. All right.